What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast, a special 2025 MLB Draft recap. We're going to go through all the picks, give you all the information that we could ever possibly know about these guys. A lot of them kind of secretive. We kind of don't know that much. You got some guys going to colleges that are smaller, aren't on TV as much. We're relying a lot on what we've seen on the internet and also a little bit of the clips that we have seen ourselves. Again, going through every single pick of the 2025 MLB Draft, giving you guys a breakdown. It's the Mets'd Up way. It's the way we do it. Make sure you guys follow us on all our social media at Mets'd Up on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the Mets'd Up podcast YouTube channel if you want to see the video version of this. And honestly, if you're listening to this, you might see some actual clips in this video of guys that are not in college because we don't want to get copyright claimed. So if you want to watch the video version, that Mets'd Up podcast YouTube channel, or if you just want to listen, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. James, you've been getting into college draft, MLB draft more and more as the years have been going on. How are you feeling about this Mets draft so far?
I think it was fun. Just from talking to you, who's very invested in the Major League Draft every year, you kind of let me know that this wasn't the best crop of college talent that we're ever going to see in Major League Draft, especially not compared to last year where there was heaps and heaps and heaps of college talent. Some guys in the upper top of the first round have already reached the major leagues, which is very rare. But I think that we saw a lot of the normal David Stern stuff. We saw him look for a lot of pitching traits rather than pitchers with stats. Like we have lots of pitchers who throw 97 miles an hour. We have lots of pitchers with good vert on their fastballs from low arm slots. We have lots of pitchers that threw splitters in this class too that we're going to talk about. And I think that the Mets were able, David Stearns, the team, Chris Gross were able to do that because the top of the draft, day one, we took two college hitters who I think look like relatively quick movers, relatively high floors in terms of hitters that you're drafting after the 35th pick in a draft. And I think with that foundation in the draft class, they went for chaos down the board. More so than the last few years when we saw for 3 straight seasons, the Mets went basically from round 3 to round 15. College pitcher, college pitcher, college pitcher, college pitcher. And now we've built up the depth in the system. And now we have 3 rotations deep between Syracuse, Binghamton, Brooklyn of Major League adjacent starters at some point. Now it's time to do some chaotic things and take some chances. I think the Mets did that well in this class.
Yeah, let's first go over the first 2 picks, like you said, from day one of the MLB draft. The Mets took Mitch Voit, 38th overall, second baseman out of the University of Michigan. Go Big Blue, as James loves to say. Mitch Voit, what do you think about him? Because at least for me on the side of like evaluating, seeing what they've got, feels like a high floor guy, as you mentioned. Feels like someone who is definitely a hit first guy rather than like this athlete kind of superstar utility guy out in the field by any means. But what you do like about Mitch Voit, and something that I've seen that he does a lot and does really well, hits the ball in the air. And the exit velos are at a spot where they're not elite, but they can be worked upon, especially because he does make so much consistent contact, doesn't swing and miss, doesn't chase a lot. Like you said, feels like a really safe pick, especially when the Mets have to make their first pick of the entire draft at pick number 38.
Yeah, Mets really have their work cut out for them in every single draft because we always get bumped back 10 spots because of the penalty for the Cohen tax that we go into every single year. And
I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll continue to go into that. I'll take my draft pick knocked 10 picks a year from the late 20s or hopefully pick 30 one day, all the way down to the late 30s and pick 40 one day to get Juan Soto and be competing year after year. But the thing I like the most about Voit is it just seems it's a hard thing to describe. Like, he does seem hitterish. Like, it seems like he controls the barrel well. Like, he's a power hitter who can spray the ball and lift the ball to all fields. We would like to see him pull the ball a bit more, but it's not like he's incapable of pulling the ball. And you can just see that there's power in every direction. I like that. And he is a plus athlete. He's not a premium defender. I could definitely see them, though, because I think he has a strong arm. And he's only been a full-time position player for a year now. He was a pitcher.
He did pitch.
Yes, he was a pitcher up until 2024. Wasn't great there. So now people have been kind of purporting him as a bit of a two-way player. I think he's certainly a position player only. I'd be shocked if they go back to two-way, which is exactly the same thing the Mets did with Carson Bench last year. This pick, again, has drawn lots of comparisons to Carson Bench because Voit, on top of having that power and the ability to lift the ball, he has incredible eye. He takes his pitches. He has an unbelievable recognition of the strike zone. He works hitters' counts, and that is how he's able to that's kind of one of the best things it seems like he's able to do as a hitter. And now when you marry all those traits, again, it seems like you have a relatively high floor prospect.
Yeah, and I think just getting someone safe here at the top of the draft, someone who I don't think is going to be anywhere over the slot value, which is very important as well when
Probably
you're doing
under.
MLB draft stuff. Yeah, he's probably going to be under. It's important to have that money to be able to spend on some of the guys that we're going to talk about a little bit later, where you can draft them, give them some money, steal them away from the colleges that they're going to. Next pick that the Mets made was at number 102, and that was Antonio Jimenez, a shortstop out of UCF. He's a little bit different than Mitch Voit. He's a little bit more of a free swinger, but at the same time, he still doesn't really strike out much. He gets on base a decent amount, but he does have some pop. And shout out Matt Eddy, friend of the podcast. I love the crazy comp that he went with. He goes, is this their idea, their pipe dream of like a Jeremy Pena type? And I can kind of see the vision there.
Definitely. Also because Chris Gross, who's now the Mets head of amateur scouting, was with the Astros when they took Pena of a similar mold. And while Jimenez didn't strike out much in college, he was played in the Big 12 at UCF, which is so bizarre saying that UCF's in the Big 12. Weird. He's a little hitter. It looks like he will strike out more as he moves up in pro ball, just because it's a lot of swings. He just likes to take his hacks. He's a swinger, and he doesn't really recognize pitches as well. Definitely not as well as Mitch Voit, but he has a lot more, it seems like, natural ability. Somewhere where Voit struggled a bit was against velocity, because Voit does that thing that we talk about much we love with Juan Soto. Not comparing them, but someone who waits a lot because you have faster hands. You have the ability to send the ball to the opposite field with power. While you wait a lot as a guy like Voit, the one area he struggled a lot as a college hitter was against pitches that have high velocity. Jimenez did not have that. Jimenez crushed high velocity. Jimenez gets his hands out, he swings, he crushes the ball, pull power, lifting the ball like 115 mile an hour max exit velocity while playing a smooth shortstop, which I think is why Matt Eddy made that comparison, Jeremy Pena, because you saw power, you saw not so good swing decisions, but you saw someone with the arm, the athleticism, and big size. It looks like they could stick a shortstop, and that is why he also, I think, has a high floor.
Yeah, no, he looks to be a ball player as well. Mitch Voit, Jimenez feel like ball player picks for sure.
Yeah.
Moving on to the third pick of this draft. I know we're kind of flying through those first two guys, but we've talked about them in an episode already. This is where we get into the real difference here between us and every other podcast in the world. Let's get going into it. Peter Cusseau, third pick by the Mets, a high schooler, starting pitcher out of a high school in Wisconsin, which is always crazy when you're picking high school kids out from there. But the Mets have been showing it doesn't really matter what school, what area. If you've got some stuff, they'll be all over you. He was the only high school pitcher invited to the MLB Combine this past season. Pretty cool. I don't think he threw, but he was invited. And his fastball's been up to 97. He is a big kid. He's 6'5". Feels more like a development project to me.
Definitely.
Someone who, we're going to talk about another high schooler down here named, Camden Lohman, that I'm a little more excited about maybe on my perspective. But he seems like a more smooth, athletic pitcher, where Cusseau has the bigger frame, but is a little bit more rigid, I want to say right now.
And Cusseau and Lohman are kind of the concept that we talked about, where this draft, again, didn't have the same level of either top end or depth of college talent, as especially compared to last year. The Mets only had 2 picks in the top 102 picks in the draft. A team like the Orioles had 4 in the top 60, I think, just to give a sense of different teams' draft pool. The Mets came into this draft, I think, with one of the smallest bonus pools ever in the Major League Baseball draft. The least amount of money, least amount of picks ever to give out. But you take those guys, Voit and Jimenez, the tops, you can then take your shots on some of these prep pitchers. And you talk about Cusseau being rigid. I see that too in his delivery, but also I kind of expect that with a kid from Wisconsin, because most of the work that he's doing, like, you're playing baseball outside, of course, as a high schooler, but in a place like Wisconsin, you're doing a lot of your baseball training indoors, like on like a modified mound, like you're doing indoor prep, you have TrackMans on you, that's where you're doing it. But with that, he seems to have great characteristics and traits on a slider, better than I would say from most high school pitchers I've ever seen doing this for, the few years now, where there was a report that last fall that pitched up to 2,600 RPMs. And as of this February, I saw another report from one of the academies he was training with that got up to 88 miles an hour, sitting between 88 and 86, with tons of drop on it and nearly 1.5 feet of horizontal movement. That right there isn't like, it's not, I wouldn't call it like a full outlier slider, but I would call that like a plus pitch. That has all the makings of being something that's nasty. He is committed to Louisville, but I think the Mets only are taking a kid like that high when they know they're going to put on a full court press to try and sign him.
Yeah, this is one of the differences that's happened in the draft over the last few years, is teams are not using these first 5, 6, even 7 round picks on guys that they don't think they're going to be able to sign anymore. It's just a waste. It's not something that these teams want to do. I heard it mentioned a lot on the MLB draft coverage by guys like Jim Callis and everybody that does this stuff over at Pipeline. They're like, if they're drafting a kid right now early, he's going to sign. They're going to give him that money. A little bit later down the draft, there might be some guys that maybe are a little bit questionable to sign, but we'll still talk about them as always. Cusseau, though, definitely, I just love seeing that we're taking a big arm and a high school kid as well, because we take, like you said, so many college pitchers. It's a fresh new look.
And this is what the ability the Mets have afforded themselves over the last few years, because we've been converting these college pitchers to guys By the time next year starts, Christian Scott's healthy, Brandon Sproat, Nolan McLean, Jonah Tong, Jonathan Santucci, Zach Thornton, Blade Tidwell. Like we have, again, we can keep going on and on, but we have so much depth in the upper minors of pitching now. It is the time to take someone like Cousteau, who's a bit more of a project. You're okay if it takes 2, 3, 4 years to get this guy even close to the major leagues. If he's pitching in Double A in 3 years, we'll be like, yes, that's a win. But that's the kind of guy you think you see a major ceiling on, major potential. And again, you have the time to do it. Now you have the development processes inside your organization where you're confidently able to do it. You see a team like the Angels never want to really risk this stuff. They actually did in the middle rounds of this draft, but they take guys at the top first few rounds every year who are like, just get to the major league as soon as you can because we're going to fuck you up in the middle. The Mets now are confident what they can do with some of these guys who are, again, are more like projects. Next few pitchers on this list, I think, are projects as well, but that's a great show of confidence in both your depth and the people you have helping to develop them.
Scott, you have a Bilt Rewards card, right?
I do, Kratz. I pay a lot of money in rent, and now I get something for that. There's no cost to join, and just by paying rent, you unlock flexible points that can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and much more. When you pay rent through Bilt, you unlock 2 powerful benefits. First, you earn one of the industry's most valuable points on rent every month. No matter where you live or where your landlord is, your rent now works for you, and you gain access to exclusive neighborhood benefits in your city. Bilt's neighborhood benefits are things like extra points on dining out, complimentary post-workout shakes, and much more. Unique experiences that only Bilt members can access. And when you're ready to travel, Bilt points can be converted to your favorite miles and hotel points around the world, meaning your rent can literally take you places. So if you're not earning points on rent, my question is, what are you waiting for? Start paying rent through Bilt and take advantage of your neighborhood benefits by going to joinbilt.com/foul. That's joinbilt.com/FOUL. Make sure to use our URL so that they know we sent you.
Let's go into one of those projects. Peyton Prescott, relief pitcher at Florida State. Really cool fun fact, coming out of high school, he was throwing like in the upper 80s. He ended up then transferring into Florida State after a year, I believe at maybe Jacksonville University. The Dolphins, I think they are. Go Dolphins. Power right hit or power relief pitcher, throws 100 now. So he gained 10 miles an hour on his fastball since his time that he was in high school. Now with Florida State, getting drafted by the Mets. The one like disappointing thing is that he did have Tommy John surgery, so we're not going to see him throw this year. Don't really know when we're going to see him throw next year, but it's another common theme with the Mets too. They're taking guys that have been getting injured. Seems like that they're kind of jumping the draft, taking them a little bit earlier because you see 100 miles an hour. You see a really, really good slider out of Peyton Prescott. I like the aggressive strategy here by the Mets.
Totally. And Prescott got his Tommy John surgery relative early this season in college baseball. So it's not going to miss that much time next year. You know what I mean? And a lot of these guys who get drafted, you don't continue pitching this year. You go straight to the pitching lab. You go down to Development Academy, Port St. Lucie, and they kind of get a grasp on who you are as a player and as a person during this time. So it's not really that big of a deal. The Mets have taken this guy, and who we're going to talk about next, Nathan Hall, who also just had major elbow surgery. Like I think that is something that maybe is overrated. Fans getting upset, nervous about that. Where it's like, yeah, take the guy who needs arm surgery. So what? Who cares?
Yeah, you said it perfectly. Most of these guys coming from college are not going to pitch this season. They're not going to throw again, especially because some of these guys have had months off. If their season ended early, they've had a month plus, maybe even close to 2 months off since they last competitively threw a baseball. You might get an inning or two. You might get 5-6 innings, maybe in a complex league or something like that towards the end of the season. But there's no rush to get these guys, especially when the minor league is still churning right now for the Mets, especially at the lower levels too now.
And we talked to Ryan Lambert last year about, a month after he was drafted. And he said literally straight down to the Mets Academy down in Port St. Lucie, set you up with housing, set you up with food, and every single day it's just lifting and pitching drills. And he's like, this is the dream. What's better than this? But something else really cool about Prescott that we're going to see about a lot of these Mets picks, it's short arm action. It's a low release point. Did you see how he threw? He's like, bang, right here, bang. Yeah. He also had bleached hair, which I think is funny. I like my closers, my relief pitchers be a little crazy. We love that. And then
there's thought, though, that he could be a starter. I've been seeing more and more people kind of floating out the idea that I actually don't think this is a relief play. I think this is a starter play.
I think that's true because what I was about to say is that he has a deep repertoire for a reliever. He has shown a slider, a curveball, a splitter, and a changeup. The changeup and the splitter blend together, but they're different grips and different he's throwing different pitches out of his hand, but none of those pitches have found any consistency. The slider's been the most consistent. It's got like good bite near the upper 80s with a true slider shape, so it's not like that downward gyro slider we talk about. It actually has horizontal movement on it, but like with that bag, even if you just pick 2 of those pitches, the slider and 1 more, you can now start to work as a starter. And if being a starter doesn't work, you go back to pitching in relief. That's totally okay,
and he throws
too.
100.
Yeah, so if he starts, he'll throw 96. Oh, no. But, like, this is, again, like, good projects with good pitch characteristics. That has defined these Mets drafts over the last few years, and it's going to keep defining the rest of this board.
Well, yeah, this Nathan Hall guy really
Freaky.
fits the characteristics of what the Mets like, especially with that low slot fastball that he has. He was a former catcher who then converted to pitcher, throws 98 on the mound, got internal brace surgery, I believe, on his right elbow this season. So again, he's going to miss some time. We're going to see him at some point next year, hopefully. But when your fastball touches 97, 98 miles an hour, again, the Mets kind of like these projects where like he's a relatively new pitcher as well, a guy who can now focus on pitching. I'm sure what we're seeing now with David Stearns and Chris Gross and just the Mets player development and everybody making these decisions is, and it's obvious right now with these picks that have been coming after the first 2 rounds, it's like flashy. What's the big thing that they got? We feel like we can build all these other pitchers out like we have with these other pitchers in our farm system. Let's see if we can keep hitting home runs on these guys.
Yeah, the Mets are not seeking finished products in any way, shape, or form in any of these picks.
I love that in the later rounds. Like, why take a guy who throws like 92 and is a pitcher in round like 7? It's like, find the guy who throws 100. Let's see if we can find a diamond in the rough.
And Hall, he does mostly sit between 92 and 95. He's touched 97, but again, he has one of those low slot fastballs. It comes in right here, right at the hitters, the rising action through the strike zone. My guy Mikey, MJD Analysis, Baseball Prospectus, comped him to Will Watson. Looks very similar to Will Watson, another guy who seems to be a moderate success to this point in the Mets system. And also the big thing about Hall, while he has great pitch traits on that fastball and he gets good velocity, the sweeper actually might be his out pitch. So I think the fastball is definitely his best pitch, but the sweeper got up to 85 miles an hour, which is a good barometer for like a really effective sweeper, getting over 85 and up to 2,800 RPMs. Just based on raw spin alone, that would be in the top 20th percentile of all qualified major leaguers who've thrown a splitter this season. And that is with well above average velo, near the 70th percentile. So right there, you have another plus pitch. And he's experimented with a curveball. It's one of those curveballs, though, where you kind of just trying to throw a curveball. It's got the big hump. The major league hitters will see it. But just right there, another fastball sweeper. Really great spot to start for a guy who got an internal brace. Probably won't start pitching until next summer in the system, but just awesome stuff to start out with.
Yeah, no, I love what the Mets are doing here. And then they get to the SEC. I get to brag about the best conference in all of college baseball, the SEC. Shout out Auburn. They had a player drafted here, Cam Tilley, right-handed reliever in college. The thing with Tilley, if you look at his numbers, you'll be like, oh, like a 6 ERA in college. Why the hell are we drafting this guy? But James, tell the people why we like Cam Tilley.
He's got another good fastball with a good spot. He's got a good slider, and he's got a splitter. Another big thing about Tilley is that he had a lot of buzz coming to the Major League Draft out of college. Eric Longenhagen thought that he was going to be someone who actually could have been drafted high enough as a high schooler, Longenhagen of Fangraphs, to go to the major leagues with a signing bonus, but didn't get what he wanted, went to Auburn. Kind of never really got to start like he thought he was going to be able to, was never consistent enough to do it. And now he doesn't think, again, that Tilley will even sign with the Mets unless they promise him a starting role and something closer to starter's money. But I also think that you can do that because, again, three pitches with a good fastball. If they see enough in him and he was their 6th player drafted, and again, 7th player drafted, way down the board because of how few picks the Mets had, how far down the Mets picks began. That's another possibility where if you see enough from him, he might be the one that could go back to college from this group that we've talked about so far. But if they see it, like if it's worth the money, get a lot of guys under slot, why not?
This is going to be the rare one where the Mets are actually competing with Auburn or wherever he's going to go play college this year for money, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Which, I mean, you should be able to out-earn them. But, Mark, talk about your favorite guy on the board next up.
Yeah, Camden Lohman. So I've been watching this guy pitch, going through our research, and he seems very, very athletic on the mound, something that I like.
Loose.
I think most people like. He seems very loose, very smooth. The mechanics are fluid. The fastball was up to 97. I think he was up to 93 in his junior year, got it up to 97 his senior year of high school. He's another one of these big fucking dudes that's like 6'4", 6'5", coming out of high school in Missouri. Good country boy, grass-fed over there in Missouri. And he's got a really nice slider as well. Has a changeup, committed to Missouri, which we know is a pitching factory in college baseball. Mizzou. Max Scherzer came from Mizzou. There's been some really good pitchers that have come out of that college. He's a big, tall kid. He throws super over the top. I'm not saying like Jonathan because nothing's like that, but it's about as over the top as you could possibly get with that big fastball. I'm excited to see what the Mets can do with this kid because he feels like someone who, given that 3, 4, however long the development is, because he's a high schooler, I think the Mets could really turn him into something.
Totally. And Loman, different also from Jonah Tong, even with a high release point, such a big guy, he gets the downward play in his fastball.
Yes.
So he doesn't have that, what we talk about, that like high carry, high vert fastball. He has more of the Blade Tidwell fastball. We call that like the steep fastball, the heavy fastball. It'll get on the hitters. But he does extend far down the mound. Not super far considering his size, but again, with that downward play, that's something that will work better low in the zone. I even saw reports that he was only in the upper 80s when he was a junior in high school. And then he put almost 10 miles an hour in his fastball in a year, which is someone that's buzzing right now. And I do think he fell down the draft because when someone's committed to a school like Missouri, that definitely scares teams off. I could definitely see that. But again, if you feel the need to pay up to keep him and you've afforded yourself the ability to do so with lots of low slot players in this draft, he looks like someone that could be another like 2, 3, 4 year project and wind up with some crazy potential as like a mid-rotation guy.
Yeah, we'll talk about him in a little bit. Tyler McLaughlin, we signed him for $7,500, which I believe is $180,000 under slot. So Mets will definitely have some money to play with.
It's horrible.
All right, before we talk about him, though, Anthony Froboz, shortstop from New York. Oh, good paisan. Hey, how about it?
This was a good paisan, but
he kind of looks like a sick athlete.
It's a freak.
I'll tell you this. His swing, they got to change it. It's not going to be what it looks like right now. His foot hovers in the air. It just seems like a guy who's like, I'm playing high school baseball in New Jersey. I'm better than everyone. There's a couple good pitchers in the state, so I can have this kind of big leg kick, leg floats up in the air type thing. Obviously, with more velo against professional pitching, I don't think it's going to last. But he looks like a good athlete, and the exit velos look good too.
Looks like a sick athlete. He's like uber athlete was his claim to fame. It's a cannon for an arm. It's really good foot speed. It's really good agility. But I think that arm might carry him to being some kind of pitcher in the Mets system.
You think so?
I saw him being snuck as
and I was like,
I agree with you because it looks like a high. It's a high effort delivery. It's a max effort delivery. He puts his whole body into the showcases just to get to 93.
I was about to say he's a combine warrior.
Yes.
Like he's a guy who's just like, I'm at a showcase, throw 94.
But I do think similarly to the way that you talked about his swing, I don't think the way he was pitching was optimized either. Like this is a big difference with these athletes that come out of high schools in the Northeast compared to the South and the West Coast, where it's just you're not going to be as optimized for baseball. And he's committed to Rutgers. We'll see what happens there. But this was just like an athletic piece of clay I think the Mets went after here.
If the Mets can't steal him away from Rutgers, I mean, I'm feeling I'm losing some faith.
I don't know. The shortstop at Rutgers, that's gonna be a good life.
It'll probably be a pretty good life for him, yeah.
I'll tell you this. Then after that, like Mark mentioned before, Tyler McLaughlin, a relief pitcher from Georgia, again, signed him for $7,500, $180,000 below his slot. That's going to go to high school players.
With your senior. There's like, what do you want to do? You want to go play baseball somewhere else? You can't. We got you now.
Yeah, fifth-year senior who had like a 5.5 ERA as a senior at Georgia. His team calls him McLovin, so that's a fun thing.
Nice.
Good personality guy, vibe guy.
Built like a brick shit house. This dude's like 6'3", 225. He looks strong. Looks like he can play middle linebacker.
And he's got another low slot with a fastball touch is 97. Can't believe that. You guys shocked by that or not?
Ah, summer. We almost forgot what it feels like to play just because. But even summer needs backup. A little partner in the good kind of chaos. Someone to bring the kung fu kicks. Hiya! To train some dragons. Fly, young dragon rider, fly. The kind of fun that keeps the days going. That turns living rooms into playgrounds. And reminds us what our bodies and our hearts were made for. Play that moves you.
All right, we've got a new type of player, though, coming in next. Wyatt Vincent.
Freak.
Outfielder, high schooler, Missouri again. A lot of Missouri in this draft.
So
I don't
much
know
Missouri.
what the Mets were doing over there, but hey, if it works, I'm cool with it. We are pretty sure he's signing with us, right?
Yeah, we've had a report from Daniel Wexler, who has he's always sourced on these Mets like minor league draft moves. Yeah, well, a exclusive from Daniel Wexler. Expectation is he is ready to sign. Something else I love about Wyatt Vincent, two things. One, 3-sport athlete in high school. A sick football player, wide receiver, deep threat, gets down the field. I saw one of the tweets that he had 18 touchdowns his sophomore year, which is crazy. Also a basketball player. He made states in all 3 major sports, which is awesome. Another thing, on May 28th, presumably right after his high school career ended, he tweeted, is at Wyatt Vincent 06, which I think means he was born in 2006, which...
Oh, he's definitely born in 2006.
Yeah, which it's even old for some of the high school players this draft. You probably have some guys born 2008 in this draft, but... With the conclusion of my high school career, I wanted to post my career stats records, where I stand in state records, and all of my numbers. Here they are. 2 screenshots from the Notes app. One in night mode and one in day mode, which is 6. So 2022, 376 average, 496 OBP, 1195 OPS. Posting the high school OPS is fucking sick. 35 hits, 5 doubles, 4 triples, 5 homers. Did this for every single year. Down up to 2025, his best year as a senior. 403 average, 489 on base, 1200 OPS, 48 hits, 28 stolen bases, 6 homers. Posted his career slash at the end of that. And then the next one, his accolades. As a baseball player in high school, team record, 113 and 38. 2 COC championships, 3 district runner-ups. Team 1 state final. Individual accomplishments. 151 games started. 459 at-bats. 170. It's incredible. This is fucking awesome. I love that he did this. I'm going to bookmark this sentence to you so it could be. I'm the only bookmark in this tweet also, by the way.
Nice.
So we can put this into the YouTube video so you guys can see this one. But that's a dog move.
Yeah, freak athlete. That's kind of his whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, just think freak athlete. Hopefully it works out. Figure out how to hit, or he plays like center field. That's kind of the hope, I'm sure.
Another funny one. Kylie McDaniel, lead draft analyst in ESPN, formerly of Fangraphs. He predicted in his write-up, I think the Mets are going to draft Wyatt Vincent.
That's such an insane call.
He just said he had a feeling in trying to project the Mets' first pick, who projected to be a pitcher who they didn't wind up taking. In the blurb, he was like, I see Wyatt Vincent as a fit for the Mets later down the board. Funny.
Smashed it. Absolutely smashed it. All right, next up, Truman Pauly. Crazy name. People being named Truman. He was born in the 2000s. Being named Truman's crazy. Harvard. David Stearns. Harvard. Maybe a little connection there. I'll tell you what. The few pitches I've seen this guy throw.
Freak.
Demon stuff. He's what, 5'11", I think? It comes from a smaller pitcher.
Smaller frame.
But the fastball's got some crazy shit going on with it.
No, this one got Mets pitching Twitter in a blaze because he averages.
Apologies, Truman Pauly is 6'2", 200.
Okay.
I misread it. Why Vincent's 5'11"?
There you go. I might be thinking of Camarillo, the next guy too, who is small. But
no, Camarillo's big.
Oh, Camarillo's big too. All right, there you go.
Yeah.
But so Truman Pauly, 23 inches of inverted vertical break on his fastball from a low slot. It's fucking nuts, and it's in the low 90s. But that shape makes it play. He's also touched 96. With touching 96 at that shape with his extension, his arm slot, that pitch will feel like 98, 99. It kind of reminds me a lot of Alex Vesia. He is bigger than Vesia, and of course he's a righty and Vesia is a lefty, but Alex Vesia has carved out a sensational major league career for himself as a 94-mile-an-hour fastball guy, just because it is the absolute quintessential perfect four-seam fastball shape.
Yeah, no, I mean, Vesia is, and he was a guy too who like grinded through high school, grinded through college. Another dude who did not throw the ball hard when he was first getting recruited, and now is a premier left-handed reliever in Major League Baseball, like you just mentioned. Truman Pauly, though, cool name. Harvard, I think there was like 3 or 4 guys drafted from Harvard and stuff this year.
Baseball
just kind of crazy. Big Ivy League year for the Major League Baseball draft. But it's also cool to see that, again, no rock goes unturned by the Mets organization. Harvard, Missouri high schools in Wisconsin. We got UC Santa Barbara up next, a little bit of a bigger school, but still, they're going anywhere. It doesn't matter if you play in a big conference or not. Frank Camarillo, 6'4", big guy, another dude who's just, shocker, great fastball on him. What do you guys think? Are you surprised that he throws hard?
It's got a low slot, explodes out of his hand. Like the Mets very clearly have a type, and we got someone from Jeff McNeil's alma mater.
Nope, Long Beach State.
That was dope. I thought these were the Dirtbags. UC Santa Barbara. Damn.
Santa Barbara, I believe, is the Gauchos, maybe.
Oh, that actually does sound right.
Yeah. Santa Barbara. Was Santa Barbara our boy Bent Leuchten? Or no, he was Irvine.
No, he's UC Irvine. Bent Leuchten. Legend.
Yeah. Shout out Bent Leuchten.
He deserved to be in the tournament. NIT legend. January Hoops legend.
Shout out Gambling Day. All right. James Smith, the 4th. Next pick. I'm going to say it simply. Freak. 6'5" lanky, incredible athlete, takes daddy hacks at the plate, two-way player. I think if he comes to the Mets, because this one's still very much up in the air, if he comes to the Mets, I think they're going to go to the pitching side with him just because he throws 99 miles an hour, and he got hurt playing the outfield this year, so I think they might just be like, go pitch, you're a freak. But also, that bat, while the swing is long, definitely got some juice in it.
He didn't just get hurt playing the outfield. He broke his leg in a collision in the outfield right after he transferred from, I think it was Northwest Mississippi Community College to Memphis, something like that. But fastball got up to 99, good shape, good extension. Seemed like he could have been a big riser this year, which is a reason he might go back to school, because if he is healthy and actually can pitch for a whole season, I'm sure he gets drafted well ahead of where he got drafted this time. But if the Mets give him enough money, maybe he just comes to the organization. And again, this is another sensational ball of clay the Mets got they can mold. Someone who will not rise quickly in any way, shape, or form, but someone that, since we have the depth, we could give him his time, give him a few years. There's a lot of things that could possibly happen with James Smith IV.
All right, guys, we are on to our final 6 picks here of the draft. Round number 15, the Mets go with Connor Ware, a left-handed pitcher out of LSU. Shout out the SEC. He was a reliever pretty much this year. LSU's got crazy pitching.
National champions.
Yeah, national champions. Still pretty good. Like a lot of times with these loaded teams, the relief pitchers are just guys that they're like, we don't have room for you to start because we have 3 first-round starting pitchers. One of the cases with Connor Ware came from JUCO as well, so he was a transfer in. Lefty, fastball sat mid-90s. Good fastball, guys. Shocker. Woo!
And that fastball touched 96 from the left side, which is a big deal. There's only like 6 qualified pitchers in Major League Baseball right now, starters and lefties, who can touch 96. That was in relief, so it probably trends down, or we get him in the lab, let that trend up. But big thing is he has a hammer curve and a good changeup. Those are 2 things you love from a left-handed pitcher to have. 2 platoon neutral pitches, especially that changeup can be changeup's not platoon neutral, but 2 pitches you can use against the right-handed batters who you're going to be facing most of. And this gives me a similar vibe to Christian Scott, who when we took him out of Florida, he got bumped out of that rotation and got put in the bullpen just because there were so many good starters. Bring him to the lab, let it work, and this is just I love seeing that 96 from a lefty with a good changeup. Like that literally will never, ever, ever go out of style. And we just keep going down the list, and I keep being like, damn, I like this pick. Damn, I like this guy. Damn, I like that fastball. Like, it's amazing how deep we're able to go and how every single time we actually have something good to say about these pitchers.
Another big guy, too, 6'4", 205. All right,
huge.
Pick number 16 in the 16th round, Zach Mack. First off, electric name. Zach Mack? Are you kidding me? How does that come together? Loyola Marymount University. Watched one clip of him pitching. He threw a demon fastball in on a hitter's hands to the right-hand side and shattered his back.
No, different guy.
That was Joe Scarborough?
That was Joe Scarborough.
Oh, man, there's so many names. All right, apologies to the Scarborough family. We'll keep that one for him. But Zach Mack he's your Remy boy. Tell us all about what Remy's got for us.
So, friend of the podcast, Remy Budashevitz. Remy, I'm sorry if I botched your name, but Remy is a pitching consultant with Loyola Marymount. So he had a big thread about Zach Mack way back in May, just about his growth as a pitcher. He became a full-time pitcher in spring of 2022. He tore his UCL, got Tommy John surgery just after that, May 2022. Became a full-time pitcher and got Tommy John surgery 3 months later, just to give you a sense of modern pitching, how that goes. But he was a JUCO guy. San Jacinto. Is that JUCO or you think that's high school?
That's JUCO.
San Jacinto's a JUCO. So he came there, and Remy just lauded him for great work ethic, got right into the lab with them, was trying out a bunch of different pitches, added more carry to his fastball, experimented with a gyro, a cutter, a splitter. The splitter is the pitch that they think has stuck, which again, like half the pitchers we mentioned the Mets took this draft had splitters there. And Remy loves his competitiveness and a crazy attitude on the mound. Just pitches with a fire that I think we love to see, especially when you're taking guys this late. And again, that splitter stuck, that gyro stuck, 2 pitches that are mostly platoon neutral, a fastball has trended upwards. Just again, someone who has worked with some of these more advanced pitching ideas already in college, came through JUCO, heart of the champion right there, and just pitches with intensity and fire.
We're throwing darts at a board right now at these last picks. There's chances that some of these guys never really do anything for us. It's completely possible. High chance. It's more likely that we'll never hear of them at the major league level. But throwing darts, following the process, I like to see it. Sam Robertson, shortstop out of community college, went to Auburn his first year out of high school, didn't play at all, transferred out. I don't know if we're going to sign him necessarily. There's also not too much right now on Sam Robertson out there.
No, not a ton. We know he's fast, he's athletic, hopefully a guy that they think can stick a shortstop. But one of the players we're not really entirely sure if they're going to sign with us. So that's kind of the most he can. But definitely some natural talent to work there. Got signed up to Auburn out of high school.
Yes, Dylan Stiltner. Am I reading that correct? Dylan Stiltner?
Stiltner, yeah. This one is exciting. This was a two-way prep player, someone who, again, fell down the board a lot, but the Mets already, because you don't really know if you're going to be able to sign him, but he has a fastball that got up to 97 miles an hour that sits in the mid to low 90s. Sidearm me 3/4 slot, and from an 18-year-old, another one similar we talked about with Lohman up top, easy delivery, easy velocity right there from someone who hasn't even really grown into his body yet, and for an 18-year-old, a good feel for a tight slide that gets up to 87 miles an hour with some real depth and has shown a changeup again as a prep player who also hit regularly.
Oh, interesting. He's committed to Chipola College, which JUCO powerhouse, one of the best JUCOs in all of the country for baseball. But you usually go to Chipola because you want to get drafted, be in the pros. Feels like the Mets have a pretty good shot at getting this guy.
And again, this keeps playing on the strategy we've talked about the whole time. When the Mets took the 2 high floor guys at the top, they're going to be able to sign for just under slot. You could probably pencil in for AA this time next year, basically with those 2 guys, Voit and Jimenez. Maybe more. At
least high A Brooklyn.
At least get to Brooklyn by this time next year, and then you just take shots on these random guys. This dude Stiltner, who's never been a full-time pitcher, looks like that's where he's going to wind up. already touching 97 with a very nice, easy, repeatable delivery. Like that's a great ball of clay you can start to mold.
Yeah, and a lot of the guys that they took, like Camarillo, James Smith, Zach Mack, James Smith not so much, but Zach Mack, Joe Scarborough, who we're about to talk about, Garrett Stratton, they're all fourth-year guys as well that are in their
Low
junior
slot.
or season. So they're going to be low slot guys that are not going to be getting paid big money. Speaking of Joe Scarborough, okay, this was the guy who broke a metal bat on the pitch. Yes, because Jacksonville State, shout out the other Gamecocks. They had two guys drafted in this draft for, I think, the first time ever in their school's history, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
He threw a fastball into a right-handed batter on Florida International, broke his bat. When I showed you it, we were like, that's an insane pitch. That pitch looked ridiculous. And you're like, wait, don't they play with metal bats? And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
Shattered a metal bat on an inside fastball. And he's another guy, low arm slot, got up to 98 miles an hour with his fastball. And that pitch was demon. Like, he's releasing it like here. It's like at his shoulder, like in front of his shoulder. And it just came right on that hitter and shattered the bat. Great tweet from Mike Mayer that had that clip. But over and over again, it feels like we're saying the same thing because we kind of are. The Mets are seeking the same pitch traits from seemingly every single guy they took, and the same blend of, like Mark said, these fourth year high school college players to then take shots at either some 3-year college players, some high school players, some community college guys, some JUCO guys. Where they see some more high potential traits in.
Yes, and last guy that they took with pick number 613 in the 20th round, Garrett Stratton, right-handed pitcher out of Rice, Texas, Rice University. Baseball powerhouse, Rice. Great baseball school. Stratton, I believe, was used mostly as a reliever this year. I couldn't find too much stuff on him, honestly. I saw like one clip, and it was like kind of sun glare. Blocked me from seeing it well.
Yeah, another one. Also, something that we kind of saw, a lot of guys who seemingly are smart the Mets took in this draft. Guys who got good grades. Rice is a great school. Harvard's a great school. I think it was Tilly or Nathan Hall led their team. It had the highest GPA in their team.
A couple of them did. Garrett Stratton, I think, did too. I think Camarillo had like a insane GPA, made like all academic teams. I don't know if that matters, but
it's not a bad thing, right?
Can't be bad to be smart.
No, definitely can't be bad to get good grades in school. But that was an in-depth draft preview. That was 30 minutes jam-packed with information, mostly of guys that I'm sure no one ever heard of. A bunch of guys I didn't hear of before a couple of days ago when I started to prep for this. But it's fun that we now have a forward-thinking front office that kind of understands the chips that they have and are playing to their strengths, doing things. You see process building year after year with this Mets front office, which is exactly what we've literally always wanted. I've wanted this from the Mets since I was 9 years old. 2005, we signed Carlos Beltran. I was like, all right, so is this going to be sustainable? No, it's not actually what I said. But this is this is cool that we're seeing this play out year after year, and it's very fun to be able to kind of like put ourselves inside the minds of the people making these decisions and try and like sort through the logic. And the fact that the logic is actually easily sort throughable. Unlike in the past, we were like, what the fuck is going on?
We're like, we're taking who? We're going where? We did what? I mean, go back to some of the first episodes ever of the Mets'd podcast. You'll hear me and James begging for us to have some sort of identity, some sort of process as an organization. And it does look like that David Stearns, at least from the drafting side, and I mean, everything that we've seen thus far, they've got it under control. In David Stearns, we trust. Shout out Chris Gross, too. Seems like another great draft. But that's it, guys. That's this episode. We're going to have a second half preview out for you before the Red Series this weekend. So make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel so you don't miss out on that. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. You can follow James on social media at
James Schiano.
I'm Giraffe Neck Mark with a C. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. We will catch you all right before the Red Series. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Let's go Mets.